Fragrance has the ability to transport us to another place or time, be it a memory, a wish for the future, or even a dream. It conjures phantom loves and losses, those whom we adored and those we mourn. It intoxicates, bewitches, and holds our admirers rapt, enthralled. It allows us to slip into the skin of that which we would wish to be, the femme fatale, the ingenue, or, if you're weirdly specific like me, Morticia Adams tending a poison garden at midnight in late summer, moments before a fearsome thunderstorm. My love of perfumes and scented fripperies began early in life with clandestine visits to my mother's vanity, spritzing and spraying with the wild abandon of a child caught up in the moment and no thoughts to the fragrant cacophony that would soon give evidence of their mischief. This is a childhood habit that I never grew out of, as I confess to this day I cloak myself in clouds of my favorite scent with wanton recklessness. But in middle age, I'm my own boss, and if my mother is scolding me, it's from beyond the grave. Today, I am going to give a peek into my perfume collections, share a handful of my beloved fragrances over the years, as well as provide some insight into the scents and smells, not always in perfumes, mind you, that pique my interest. Let's get started. Hello friends, it's been a while, but I won't make any excuses. I'm just going to jump right in. I will say that the camera work, such as it is a little wonky. Our tripod broke, and so I am very awkwardly just holding this in front of my face, and I've got weak noodly arms, so that's not going to last for very long. We'll just get right into the perfume talk. I do have to share a little bit more perfume cabinet b-roll, however, because I just had a light installed and it looks pretty glorious now. Back to my love of perfume. Though my odoriferous obsessions have waxed and waned over the years, and on any given day I could be head over heels in love with a scent that struck me as particularly fabulous at that moment in time, there are the rare few that have become eternal favorites for me. I am not a scholar of scent, nor an academic of aromatics, so my perfume reviews and conversations are mostly involved with how a fragrance makes me feel. Does it conjure a dream or a memory? Or perhaps it concocts a story composed of imaginary elements and characters and a plot that moves along as the scent evolves on my skin. These are the things that draw me to a fragrance. Not how many molecules of X, Y, or Z it contains, not necessarily the history of the perfumer, or even the combination of notes that comprise the scent. My reflections on fragrance are probably quite amateurish, and I am not certain that they will ever evolve beyond that. But that's okay with me. I honestly don't have to be an expert in the things I love in order to love them with my whole heart. With that being said, I'd like to share with you my 5 all-time favorite scents, as well as the emotions they evoke and the stories they stir in my soul. I should probably confess beforehand that the notes I gravitate toward are often dark and moody, brimming with rich woody resins, heady incense, potent spices, and the occasional inky midnight florals. If you're more a fan of fragrances that fall on the lighter end of the spectrum and would like to know a few of my favorites in that vein, let me know in the comments and I'll put together some thoughts for a future video. For now though, let's dive in. First up is Comme des Garçons Incense series Kyoto. Launched in 2002 and devoted to the 5 main spiritual teachings of humanity, each of the fragrances in this series is named after the cities significant for those teachings. Kyoto's main notes include incense, cypress oil, coffee, teakwood, patchouli, amber, cedar, and immortal flower. This is probably my favorite scent in the world. It's both elegant and austere, it's wonderfully meditative, and it calls to mind a dark prayer in a cool, shadowy forest temple. Next up is Norne by Slumberhouse. A small perfumery based in the Pacific Northwest, Norne is, I believe, their most popular offering. I'm sure the notes are listed somewhere online, but I'm equally sure that I've included most of them in my rambling review. Norn smells of black night forests frozen in time, tarry resinous pines, greenest fir, crisp midnight air, and tiniest pinpoints of starlight. Wood smoke and loam, lichen and fern, and musty mosses creeping over fallen logs and worn stone paths. Spiders' webs tangling high in the branches, dust settling on the strands. Time has slowed and finally stood still in this forest, while the world outside advances and evolves and moves along, as is the world's habit, whether one interferes or not. This is a still, solemn, forgotten wood, without any birth or growth, and yet undying. Third on the list is Messimini by Etro, which I am not pronouncing correctly, but I can't roll my R's. The fashion house is well known for its glamorous bohemian designs, but as far as their scents go, I am not certain which among them might be most popular. The one I dearly love is Messe de Minuit, or Midnight Mass. It was love at first sniff for me, but not because I recognized the scent of a Holy Christmas Mass. I've never been to one, so how would I know? But rather once I realized that its sour, musty scent reminded me of a shadowed corner of a used bookstore, of towering piles of moldering books stacked on sagging and rotted wood shelves. A corner that hasn't seen sunlight in years, books that are touched by human hands rarely, if at all. It's not a particularly healthy scent, but no one ever accused me of having healthy interests. Number 4 in what is rapidly becoming a collection of unpronounceable favorites is Chergui by Serge Lutens. I have a few favorites from this brand, but they all sort of smell the same, like a thick, syrupy, raisiny incense. This isn't a bad thing, and I actually kind of love that. But Chergui is my favorite amongst these. It's rich and luxurious and decadent, without being heavy, yet it is definitely not a light scent either. It's really quite intoxicating. It smells foreign and familiar all at once, like the sumptuous romance of illustrations in a well-worn book of fables from a faraway land. It's all lofty sandalwood, honeyed musk, and liquid amber tea on me, and it makes me feel like a desert queen in a strange, dusty tale. I could probably list dozens of favorites from esoteric indie perfumer Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab's extensive catalog of scents, and in another video I might tackle that very challenge. But today I will only mention my very favorite amongst all of them, the limited edition Fatsamond, which I believe translates from the German to mean Black Moon, and which makes sense as it was one of their monthly lunacy offerings from several years ago. This is the 2006 version, but they have restocked a few times over the years, with 2011 being the most recent. Brimming with notes that feel like a warped and wicked tripping of the tongue when you attempt to pronounce them, it's a heavy, velvety, and vaguely menacing fragrance, woven throughout with brooding resins and dark, lurking patchouli. It smells a bit predatory and poisonous, but in the very best way. Well, if you have made it through all the nonsense and rambling and melodrama of this video, then you must love fragrances and perfumes as much as I do, and I appreciate your enthusiasm and support. What are some of your favorite perfumes? What are some scents that you find yourself drawn toward? Let's chat about it in the comments, and if there's anything perfume or scent related you'd like to hear about in future videos, do let me know. If you have enjoyed my smelly ramblings, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel for more forays into fine fragrance and further peeks into my obsessions. Till later, weirdos.